We know business owners are well respected in their communities and are keenly aware of the issues that affect all job creators. You know, we have a saying, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So having the right people at the table is the only way we're going to get good policy.
The Small Business Rundown is the official podcast of the National Federation of Independent Business, the member-driven voice of small business. NFIB and our members advocate to keep America's small businesses strong and independent in Washington, D.C., all 50 states, and the nation's courts.
Welcome to the Small Business Rundown, your place for information on independent businesses' victories and challenges in Washington, D.C. and state capitals. I'm Adam Temple, NFIB's Senior Vice President of Advocacy. NFIB is the nation's leading small business advocacy organization, but what does that really mean? Here to break that down for us today is NFIB's National Grassroots Strategies Director, Jessica Cooper, and Senior National Political Director, Sharon Sussin. Jessica and Sharon, thanks for joining us on the Small Business Rundown.
Oh, thank you for having us, Adam. Advocacy is a really important topic, and I'm looking forward to our discussion on why business owners should get involved and ways NFIB makes it easy for them to take meaningful action.
And I'm glad to be here as well. I expect we'll have a really good conversation.
Definitely, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Before we dive in, I'd like to start by sharing a bit from a conversation we had a while back with Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina.
Being in the Senate, you can only get so much done in the vacuum of the Capitol. When you're talking to business owners, you're hearing the challenges that they have with regulatory burdens, with tax burdens. You can take that information and go back and create policies like the tax reform bill that's had an enormous impact on small businesses. That's what happens when you listen to American business and then put into action legislative policies that respond to their concerns.
So that's an elected official's perspective on the impact small businesses can have when they're using their voice. I'd also like to play this from a conversation we had with an NFIB member and small business owner, including her thoughts on engaging with lawmakers.
Hi, I'm Laura Lucia Specialized Calling, and we're located in upstate New York, Schenectady, and also in Chesapeake, Virginia. When the hours of service was a big issue for truck drivers, and the people at NFIB set us up with meetings, and I spoke to somebody that was on a transportation committee, and I felt like for the first time that we were in business that somebody here in Washington actually heard our voice, and the original bill was changed, and what was passed did include some of the stuff that we talked about. I'd like to think that I brought some of those issues to the table.
It's always great to hear those stories directly from small business owners who get involved and advocate for the needs of small businesses. So, Jessica, that's one path from a member. Can you start by explaining what our grassroots team does here at NFIB?
Absolutely. And first, it might be helpful to understand what grassroots is. I get asked that a lot. And grassroots, in its simplest form, is engaging a group of people towards a common cause, a unified goal. So NFIB's grassroots team works with our colleagues across the association, especially with our state and federal lobbyists, our political and media colleagues, to identify opportunities to meaningfully engage business owners in the political process. We work with our lobbyists on sharing legislative updates and alerting members on what is happening and when to take action. We help our media team find members when reporters want to hear the small business perspective. We're kind of like matchmakers. We help connect business owners with issues and opportunities to take action.
Right. And you mentioned alerting our members. Listeners hear me talk a lot about action alerts at the end of the podcast. Can you explain the purpose of these alerts and what do we do with the responses we get?
Great question. Action alerts are email messages NFIB sends to educate and mobilize business owners on key issues at opportune times. Action alerts include a summary of an issue, a status update, and invite recipients to take action. Clicking the Take Action button produces a draft email to send your legislators. You will be asked to enter your mailing address. This can be your home and/or business address. We encourage users to provide both home and business address because they might be located in different legislative districts. Providing both addresses allows one email to go to all appropriate legislators, thus maximizing your time and effort. NFIB action alerts usually provide a draft email to send to make it quick and easy to take action. However, we strongly encourage business owners to always try to personalize the message by sharing how the issue impacts them, their business, their employees, the vendors they work with, the broader community that they serve, and what challenges they will have or will have to make if that issue becomes law. While form letters can be really helpful in showing mass support or opposition, a personalized message can educate and influence legislators to understand the small business perspective. And when I worked on the Hill, it was always the personalized messages that always made it to the legislator's desk. Form letters were tallied up and the sheer numbers were reported, which are helpful, but the personalized messages really made a big impact. Some of NFIB's action alerts ask recipients to call their legislators, not just always email. And sometimes they're a survey because we're looking for antidotes and leads for future advocacy opportunities that we know are coming down the pike, but we're not ready to engage yet because we are always trying to best utilize our members' time and be very time sensitive with those asks. Every action alert is different as NFIB tailors our advocacy strategies for what will have the most impact and be the best use of a business owner's time because we know that you guys are busy running your business. NFIB's lobbyists often hear from legislators about messages they receive from business owners. We love hearing that feedback. They always want to hear the small business perspective, and NFIB action alerts are the quickest, simplest way to do that.
Jessica, are they always emails, and what action are we asking the members to take?
Some of our action alerts, or a majority of them, are action alert emails. Sometimes they're calls. We're asking our recipients, small business owners, to call their legislators. So sometimes it's really timely. Something is happening that day or within a few hours. And then sometimes there's surveys. We're always looking for antidotes and leads for future advocacy opportunities about things that we know are coming down the pike, but it's not the most opportune time to engage further.
Right. And action alerts can be a good first step for a member that's interested in getting involved. What other first steps might there be or other things that people can do through Grassroots?
3 things really kind of come to mind. That first, it's to sign up to receive our NFIB emails and then actually read them. I know how many of us get emails in our inbox and don't look at them. These are important because we send them out in a timely fashion because action is needed. And second, I'd say download and regularly use NFIB's free Engage mobile app. It's advocacy in the palm of your hand or at your fingertips. And there's a lot of great information there. And I can talk about our Engage mobile app all day long. But I'll just encourage listeners to visit nfib.com/app to learn more. And we have a really helpful video on that page so you can see all the capabilities that are in that app, which is a really great tool. And you do not have to be a member of NFIB to use it.
Okay.
If you're a member of NFIB, and thank you very much if you are and you're listening, create and update your NFIB member profile. This is really important because it helps us make sure that we have the correct contact information for you, such as your email address. We also ask 2 key advocacy questions. And then we tailor our advocacy communications based off your preferences. So you're not receiving everything that we send out. You're receiving things that are most important to you. Bet you're wondering what those 2 questions are? They're simple. It is, what issues are you most interested in, and how might you be willing to get involved? It's just a few radio buttons that you click, and then we'll do the rest.
Jessica, what are some other things members can do through Grassroots to advocate?
NFIB has a plethora of ways business owners can get involved. We offer tools and support to make it easy as possible and offer things for all comfort levels. I talked about our emails and our action alert to legislators, and those are the easiest ways someone can take action. We also are always looking for ways to help educate the public. And business owners can do this through submitting a letter to the editor, or if they're comfortable speaking to a reporter. Sometimes it's, not on camera. It could be with someone who's going to be writing an article. And letters to the editor are really important because legislators and their staff, especially when their name is used, read those pieces. And they're just a great way to get visibility for the small business perspective to be heard from a broader audience. Video testimonials are also really important. It helps humanize issues, and it grabs visual attention to decision makers on how issues are impacting their constituents and the businesses and the communities that they serve. So finding NFIB members to speak on camera with NFIB on issues is another powerful way to get involved. Testifying, it sounds really terrifying, but NFIB lobbyists are here to help business owners that are willing to do this every step of the way. And we do this at the state and federal level. They can be in person, and now sometimes they're actually allowed remotely. In some states, they even allow submitting written testimony. So there's a lot of ways of testifying in different comfort levels. We do a lot of events at NFIB. They're pretty popular. People can host events. They can attend events. NFIB helps with hosts. And some of these events that we host are like state lobby days. We call them Small Business Days at the state capitol. And we have our annual Washington, D.C. fly-in, where business owners fly in to D.C. to meet legislators and talk about key issues. NFIB has won awards for our D.C. fly-in, and thanks to our members, past fly-ins efforts have resulted in significant legislative wins. This is proof that when business owners get involved, speak up, and share real-world examples of how laws and legislation impacts their business, they are educating and influencing legislative decision makers. Our listeners, they really have the power to make change. We also host other events. There are events that can be in person, they can be virtual with legislators, their staff, they can be legislative briefings, and Sharon's probably going to talk about some of the political events. There's a lot of events and things that people can do that NFIB helps coordinate or you can do on your own, such as attending legislative town hall meetings, going to community events where legislators may be present or candidates might be present. Sharon will talk about those a little bit. But one of my favorite events is NFIB's Small Business Challenge. These events, or challenges, is when lawmakers spend time at a business in their community doing something hands-on to get real experience firsthand of what challenges small business owners face on a day-to-day. These are great because it allows the legislator to get to know a business owner in their community and the business owner to get to know their legislator. They can talk about the issues, the challenges that they're having, but really it's about building rapport and a relationship that the business owner can then hopefully become kind of a resource or someone that the legislator is going to reach out to in the future that might be able to help influence legislation in its infancy later on. So they're really powerful events, and NFIB is here to help any business owners that might be interested in doing that.
For the members that have time, how can they participate in the events that we host?
To learn more about them and other opportunities to get involved with NFIB, please visit our Advocacy Center.
And we'll include a link in the show notes to the information that you're talking about, Jessica. Now, I would like to talk about getting involved politically. Sharon, can you start by explaining what our political team does here at NFIB?
Sure. Our program has a three-pronged approach. First, through our vetting and endorsement process, we identify pro-small business candidates for our state and federal PAC to support. We interview candidates, we conduct lots of research to make endorsement recommendations to our PAC committee. Next, we encourage our members to engage to help support the right candidates. They can host events with candidates, write letters to the editor, donate money to our PAC or to candidates. And thirdly, and most importantly, we run programs to ensure our small business owners get out and vote on or before Election Day. We produce voter guides and other election-related communications so our members know for sure who the pro-small business candidates are come Election Day.
And it's one thing to be a pro-small business candidate or an advocate for small businesses. Why is it important for small business owners themselves to run for office?
That's great because we know the best way to have pro-small business policy is to elect pro-small business candidates. We know business owners are well respected in their communities and are keenly aware of the issues that affect all job creators. We have a saying, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So having the right people at the table is the only way we're going to get good policy. We're proud to have, I think, over 25 NFIB members serving in Congress right now and hundreds in state capitals across the country. These are folks that sign the front of a paycheck. And so if you go to our website, nfib.com/elections, we have resources there for running for office as well as other ways that business owners can help candidates.
And we're realistic. We understand that not all small business owners can take the time away from their business to run for and then serve an elected office. But what are some of the other things that small business owners can do to help get those pro-small business legislators elected?
There are so many ways to help candidates. Members, business owners can host events so candidates can meet their employees. They can write letters to the editor, of course, donate money. There's just so many ways, again, because small business owners have that credibility in their communities. Candidates always seek out the small business support. So, again, if you go to our website, you'll see some resources we've put together, and we found those to be tremendous resources for our members.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier the PACs, the fundraising PACs that we have that stands for Political Action Committee. What is that exactly?
Sure. A PAC helps amplify your vote. And certainly one voice, one voter can have an impact. But when we can get our members together to donate to our PAC and then support a candidate knowing that it's on behalf of our hundreds of thousands of business owners, that's much more impactful. So we want to make sure we can support those candidates both at the state and federal level that stand with our members on business issues. If you are an NFIB member, you can certainly participate in one of our PACs and know that your donations will go directly to help support pro-small business candidates. Adam, I do want to make a note that NFIB membership dues are not used for political purposes, so that makes our PAC so critical to supporting pro-small business candidates.
We heard from several members earlier about their engagement through Grassroots or political purposes. What other highlights have you or your teams recently seen when Grassroots and political advocacy have ramped up around certain issues or events or election cycles, things like that?
You know, I'm really proud of the success that we've had in our political program over the years. We have what I like to refer to as tools in our toolbox, and there's so many great ways to educate and engage our members. Like I mentioned, the voter guides we send out, the Get Out the Vote communications, we host events with candidates. We have a great program called Road Team where we send staff volunteers to engage with members in top districts. You know, everything we do is centered around our belief that elections are a business decision, and we want to make sure our members are educated about where candidates stand on the issues that matter most. I would love to hear from you. If you want to find ways to get involved, you can email me at political@nfib.org.
Before we finish today, is there anything else that either of you want to add?
You know, I'd like to do a push again to our elections page. That's nfib.com/elections. We've really put some great resources there. You can register to vote. You can learn more about early voting, which is so important these days. Again, our running for office guide is there. Our political action guide is there. You know, if I can say anything, whether it's on issues or politics, remember you are the voice of small business, and just make it heard.
You know, Sharon, one of the things I love when I've heard you talk about, you know, early voting and voting is that I don't want to speak for you for your words, but that, you know, election day is the last day to vote.
Right.
And I think that's really important. And it is one of the easiest ways to get involved in our country is to really just vote and encourage others to do the same. Adam, thanks for the opportunity to talk about advocacy and the importance of it today. I just love our listeners to know that they have the power to influence change and to be directly impacted, their business directly impacted because of their involvement and their engagement. You know, hopefully today's discussion empowers listeners to know how to get involved and then have the confidence to actually get involved, that NFIB is here to be their partner. As listeners have heard from past podcasts, there are harmful legislative proposals currently being considered in Congress and in state legislatures throughout the country. I just ask that our listeners help NFIB educate legislators and decision makers by using our action alerts, taking a moment to personalize the message. This really helps have an impact and educate legislators and their staff before issues become law, before they start impacting your business and the decisions that you're going to be making. NFIB is here to be a partner with business owners who want to get involved, and there are a lot of things that people can do, and you don't have to know what it is or how to do it. NFIB is here to make it easy for you and as simple as possible because we know that you're busy running your business. And together we can make real change and make it easier for you to own and operate your business.
Well said. Thank you both for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Glad we can be here. It was fun.
We talked a lot about action alerts earlier, and I hope listeners will take the time to look through our current alerts and surveys and take action on any that apply to their small business. Link to action alerts and the Election Center can be found in this episode's show notes. Our email address is also in today's show notes, and we'd love to hear from you if you have a question or a topic you'd like to learn more about on a future episode. And now I want to thank you, the listeners, for joining us on today's Small Business Rundown. We'll be back every 2 weeks bringing you news and analysis from Washington, D.C. and state capitals so that you, whether you're a business owner or a supporter of one, can continue to blaze a trail.
The Small Business Rundown is brought to you by NFIB, the voice of small business. You can find us at nfib.com and on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.